Today on the Ahead of the Curve series, we feature an interview with Tracy Dyer. She's the CEO and creative genius behind Urban Junket, and I have the Urban Junket logo here behind me. Tracy joins us for Ahead of the Curve series for a special interview about what is driving her and giving her meaning in her life, and the M in most life, there we go, is for meaning. So we're going to talk to Tracy about how she gets meaning out of her life and what drove her to start Urban Junket. So Tracy Dyer, welcome to Ahead of the Curve series for Most Life.
Thank you so much. So nice to be here today. How are you?
Good, good. So I know we've talked a couple of times, and I really like the story of how you came around to understanding some of the needs in the marketplace and how you found meaning by listening to others, and I'm going to feature that as well in the newsletter about listening to the external voices and being able to synthesize that into meaning. So tell us a little bit about your story and what brought you to Urban Junket.
So yeah, let's see, I started Urban Junket about 8 years ago now, and before I started Urban Junket, I worked for Best Buy Corporation here in Minneapolis, and I liked to say that I had the best job at Best Buy at the time. I worked in marketing as part of the innovation team that was working on new ventures that Best Buy was doing, different kinds of ventures around all different kinds of things. The one that I spent the most time on was actually the acquisition of the Geek Squad and the eventual branding and launch of the Geek Squad brand nationally for Best Buy. And it was an interesting time at Best Buy. It was a fun time to be there. We ended up acquiring the Geek Squad brand and rolling it out nationally. And it was a really, it was the best MBA program I could have ever had. I learned more about how to launch a brand and how to do all kinds of different things that I had never had any visibility to prior to doing that. So it was great learning and a fun time, and I met a lot of fantastic people during that process. But one of the things that ended up coming out of it was the launch of Urban Junket, and we were working on the rollout of the Geek Squad brand nationally, and we were asking women all over the country whether they felt like their personal safety might be at risk if we sent a Geek Squad agent into their house, and they used to answer that question with a kind of resounding, duh, no, people come into my house all the time, but why don't you have better laptop bags for women? And we did this over and over again in multiple cities, and they kept giving us this answer or this question. They kept posing this question back to us: why don't you have better laptop bags? Why doesn't Best Buy have better laptop bags? So I tried to get Best Buy to create better laptop bags at the time, because we were the innovation group and we could do cool things like this. And so I went to Best Buy's existing suppliers and asked them to make better laptop bags, and they basically kept coming back with a modified diaper bag, and it was pink and frilly and lacy, and it just was completely wrong. So I kept telling these, unfortunately most of them were men, I kept telling these male designers, look at the bags that your wife is carrying, make it look like a purse, make it look like a handbag, make it look like something that a woman would want to carry, and then put the protection in it for a laptop or for different pieces of technology. And that seemed to be too much for them. They couldn't really handle it. So I decided that I was going to go figure out how to go make them. So I left Best Buy and I started Urban Junket. And at the time, I started out manufacturing in leather before I knew better. And we made leather bags in Italy, and they were gorgeous. And then I started learning about the tanning process of leather and how toxic that was, and started doing some research around what other kinds of materials we might be able to use, and that's when I discovered the recycled plastic water bottle fabric was being made, and discovered a coating process for canvas that allowed us to create bags in colorful different patterns and different textures and things, but to coat it so that it would be strong enough to hold up to what a laptop bag needs to handle during travel and things like that. So that was kind of the launch of the initial inspiration that launched the idea. So that's kind of where Urban Junket got started from. So thanks to Best Buy for that.
Well, that's pretty cool, and I like the whole when you're telling the story, you're like on a mission to find like the perfect combination of non-toxic, durable, attractive, colorful, and you've obviously arrived there. Your bags are beautifully vibrant and attractive and unique looking, enough feminine and functionality together. They're really cool, but I love the story about the recycled water bottles, and that tells me you had more than just putting together a nice bag for women. You had a purpose to do something good for the earth. So tell us a little bit about the water bottle technology and what you're doing to decrease the footprint of with your purses.
Yeah, the plastic problem is a big problem, and I started becoming aware probably maybe 10 years ago about the impact of what all of this recycled or what the lack of recycling was doing to our planet and specifically our oceans. What's happening is, I mean, in America alone, we throw away 35 billion with a B, billion water bottles a year just in America, and we're just one country. I mean, we're a big consuming one, but we are throwing away 35 billion water bottles a year, and those that plastic is doing two things. It is either breaking down into smaller pieces of plastic that are eventually will break down, and I don't know what will happen to them, but eventually they probably will break down and biodegrade. But it's taking 500 to 1,000 years for that to happen, is the estimate right now. And what's happening is that plastic is turning into these smaller and smaller particles that looks like plankton, and it's getting eaten by smaller fish, and it's killing the smaller fish, which makes for the food source for the larger fish is starting to go away. And so it's starting to damage like all kind of cycles of life. If you impact the bottom, you're going to impact the top eventually. And so what's happening is that the plankton are, the small fish are eating this plastic thinking that it's plankton. And then it goes all the way up to the marine mammals that are being impacted by this. And the other thing that is happening in the ocean is that the plastic, as it's churning around the ocean and mixing with the salt water, in our infinite perfection, like finds like, and plastic is finding other plastic in the ocean. And with the combination of plastic, heat, salt, that's creating what's called the plastic island. And it is a disturbingly large hunk of plastic the size of the state of Texas that has joined forces in the Pacific Ocean and created an island that you can practically go stand on. And because it's made from plastic, light does shine through it. So marine mammals like whales, dolphins, things that need to breathe but live in the ocean, are getting stuck underneath it. And they can hold their breath for a long time, but they can't hold their breath forever. And so they're dying. They're literally suffocating under these this plastic island, which is incredibly disturbing for so many reasons. So we don't. What can be done about this plastic island is basically chipping it away and recycling it and getting it out of the ocean. What can be done about the plankton-like plastic is a little bit more disturbing because not a lot can be done about that. But what can be done is that we don't put any more plastic into the ocean. We try to minimize each of us tries to minimize our impact. I think I've told this story before, but it's like the starfish along the ocean story that, about the girl who's walking along the ocean picking up starfish and throwing them back into the ocean, and the man comes along and says to her, you know, why are you bothering? There's thousands and thousands of starfish. You're not going to make a difference. And she picks up the next starfish, throws it into the ocean, and looks at him and says, I made a difference in that one's life. And that's really, there's ways that people can make a difference for a lot of people, and then there's ways that everybody can just take responsibility and make a difference for themselves. And if everybody kind of takes that responsibility on, I'll take on a little bit more. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Right, and that's right. And you know, it's certainly not possible for any one of us to eradicate the problems that have plagued us for decades and now probably centuries. But every person we want to put in front of our most life viewers on ahead of the curve is definitely making a change, and it's really inspiring to have you do that. Now, if you told me a little bit about how much each purse takes in bottles, and I was trying to do some math, so can you tell us a little bit about the backstory of the number of bottles it takes to finish off one of your purses, and a little bit about the design of your purse?
So yeah, our bags are made from recycled plastic water bottles, and that is what our lining fabric is made from. So our lining is all turquoise, and our exterior is all made from different kinds of bright colors, and it's a coated canvas. We chose turquoise because it's my favorite color. It's the color of the ocean, and that's the impact we're trying to make. And we also feel like if your bag isn't black on the inside, then you won't lose everything in it. So you can find everything on the inside of your bag, and then it's super durable. It can be wiped out with Ajax and cleaned really easily. And then the exterior of our bags is made from a coated canvas that is PVC free, and that was developed for the European market about 7 years ago. This coating process was developed for the European market. In the United States, we still haven't banned PVC. Europe banned it 12 years ago. So they're way ahead of us in terms of eco-consciousness and eco-awareness. And so what we use the coating process that is demanded for the European market, and we have our products developed with that here. So it's different amounts of water bottles for each bag, and if you go to our website, you can see how many water bottles it takes. And then we have a specific bag that we are giving away to your followers. That is the week of September 8th through the 12th, and it is this lovely Karen handbag in our sterling gray color. I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see it. This is the front. Yeah. This is the back. And there's lots of pockets. There's lots of organizational pockets on the inside, and it took 39 water bottles to make this bag. So, okay. So we saved 39 bottles from going into the ocean in the production of the lining of this bag. And then one of the other cool things about our bags is that we have built-in batteries that we've put into some of our bags. I know you've used it. Yep.
I'm taking one of my trip.
Yeah, I know. It's perfect. It's I never go anywhere without them anymore. We have a battery called the Joey that fits into the pocket of all of our bags. We now sell the Joey in something that's called the Power Clutch that is sold in a bunch of different colors. This is one of the Power Clutch bags. And it has a strap, and so the Joey comes inside of it, and then there's a tag that explains how the battery works and what it charges. And it's a really, really cool battery in that it charges any phone or any device that takes USB power. And about 6 years ago, the device industry went to common formatting so that this kind of battery could exist. And so now, because our smartphones and our tablets do so much, the battery life isn't as great as it used to be. And so carrying around a portable charger has become a little bit more commonplace here in the States. And we've built our Joey into the wall of our bags. So there's a pocket in all of our bags that can accommodate the Joey. And you just plug the Joey in at night, charge your bag, and then you get about 2.5 smartphone charges off one charge, or you get about 7 days of topping off your phone. And you can charge a tablet about 75% full from one Joey charge. So it's kind of a cool little feature that allows us to be eco-friendly and a little tech-forward. So, and the Karen bag has the Joey pocket in it, so if you want to have the rechargeable bag or the rechargeable battery with it, you can certainly purchase one of those, and the Karen will accommodate it.
That's nice. And I know that one of the special features that you've told me about and that I've been living with because I have my crossbody Gen purse that I'll be taking with me. The battery does not heat up in the purse. It's a phenomenal thing.
Yeah, it is. It is a really cool piece of technology. The company that built the Joey battery for us is out of Seattle, Washington, and they are really committed to the environment as well. And so they use recycled plastic in the production of the battery, and the life expectancy of the battery right now is somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 years. So we have had very few of them fail, and they just keep recharging and recharging. It's a lithium polymer battery versus a lithium ion battery, so it's TSA safe. It doesn't heat up, won't melt your lipstick. More importantly, will not melt your chocolate, which there's nothing worse than going into your bag and finding that your Reese's peanut butter cup is completely melted.
Right, you got a full charge on your phone, but you're melted.
Nothing worse. Or lipstick. Melting a lipstick has bummed me out too. So yeah, they don't heat up, they run cool, and they charge everything. So the Joey is also eco-friendly, and it's important for us to partner with suppliers that we feel like are making a difference on the planet as well. And so we were lucky enough to be the first to work with the Joey battery, and we launched the Joey product about 3.5 years ago, and we've been having tremendous luck with the continued growth of our Joey battery bags, and there's a lot of other battery bags on the market now, and unfortunately with batteries you kind of get what you pay for. So they don't, the cheaper one, you can certainly buy less expensive batteries than the ones that we sell. They don't last as long, and they don't power as much. It's nice to have one battery that can charge any phone or any tablet or any video camera, and it's like a little computer. It knows how much power to give to each device, so it auto-senses, and it works perfectly every time. We've had so few problems with it that we couldn't be happier with our partnership with Joey. So.
I love the combination, and that it fits in there, that you're not having to have the battery get in the way, because it tucks in kind of in the lining / in a pocket there. And I think I mentioned to you, which I'm still kind of tickled about, that one of my friend's 11-year-old daughters got an Urban Junket purse, and when I was telling her about talking to you, she goes, "Wait a minute, I think my daughter has one of those purses. I think she got it for a gift from a friend of hers." And she's 11, and she goes, "It's the greatest thing. She can put her cell phone and her game device in there and charge it up." And I said, "Yeah, that's the purse." So for all ages, it's a very practical device for carrying your stuff around, because you're going to be carrying it around anyway. And if you have a purse that has the charging capability, it's just fantastic. And I know
I have some friends here in the Twin Cities who have 2 kids who I'm very close to, and they the oldest one is 9, and he's really into gaming devices, and he's like, Mom, you need one of those bags. So he doesn't want to carry it, but he wants her to carry it, like his Sherpa. So she carries it around and charges his game device for him all the time. So
maybe one in Camouflage is coming up or something.
We are doing one in Camouflage. Ironically, you're so funny. We just confirmed that today. We're doing a gray Camouflage coming out in the fall.
I didn't want to take any of your secrets out there, but it just occurred to me, a young boy with a gaming device, I'm sure Camouflage would be right up his alley.
Yeah, so. we're doing a gray Camouflage for the fall. It's still going to be kind of female focused, but we think the Camouflage is cool, and we like the juxtaposition of Camouflage and being eco-friendly. So
yeah.
Well, ironically, that's funny that you should mention that, because we are doing one.
All right. So when I first met you and first came across your product, it was back in April, and I just was attracted to the color. And I loved the fact that that you had so many different size options. I absolutely loved the charger. I wasn't going to buy a purse without that aspect to it. And then when I found out about your story about basically being in the corporate world and kind of not feeling like you were expressing your creativity and doing all that you could really do, as well as having an economic and eco-friendly company going in the right direction, I just totally fell in love with you and your company. And I would love if you could give some tips to our Most Life fans out there, just kind of for them, what types of things should they be thinking about in their everyday, or as they're going along that you could kind of sprinkle them with some of your wisdom?
Yeah, I think, I always try to tell people, people ask me a lot about I want to leave the corporate world and what should I do? And I never want to tell people, oh, just jump and the net will appear or anything crazy like that, because I think that you do, depending on your situation, have to take steps towards your goals. But I really feel like understanding or feeling like you are living in your authentic life is really important. And what is authenticity to you? And authenticity might be, for some people, going to work and coming home and taking care of their kids, or taking care of their house, or taking care of their dogs and their cats, or whatever that means. It's not a judgment that I know there's like this little feeling that, like, oh, if you're an entrepreneur, you've really, it's kind of the American dream, but that isn't the only American dream. And I feel like that is, it was mine, and that was what authenticity meant to me. It meant combining my love for creativity and design and color and expression with my business head that I had learned from working in the corporate world. And I don't look at my years as like escaping from corporate America, or like I had to get out of there because it was a horrible thing. I loved working at Best Buy. I loved my corporate jobs, and I learned so much from being there that it gave me a launch pad, and I learned things that I never ever could have learned in another way. For me, being authentic meant expressing myself creatively a little more often, and I felt like also giving back. Like I had to find an outlet for giving back a little bit, and so I do that now through a lot of the eco-friendly awareness stuff that I do, through donations. I also work with Autism Foundation, and we do projects for kids with autism who are actually working in a creative way to express themselves and become illustrators. We have one illustrator, an autistic illustrator that we've actually hired on a regular basis. She does our notepads for us that we send out. When people order bags, we send a notepad with every bag that is with a personal note to each customer. And our notepads are now designed by an autistic designer out of Chicago who works with an organization called Project Onward that helps them express themselves creatively, and she's fantastic. We love her. Couldn't love her more. And so those kinds of things are really important, and I like the fact that now I have a little bit more of a platform to do those kinds of things. I also put on a big event every year here in the Twin Cities called Maiden Minnesota. That's MAIDEN Minnesota. That is all about bringing visibility to really cool companies that are focused on design and are at least half owned by a woman. Because I feel like that's not that women are better than men. I just think that they have a lot on their plates, and oftentimes they're juggling families. They may be the main caregiver in a family, as well as having to be the main breadwinner in a family, or a major breadwinner in a family, and I think it's a lot to juggle. And I think that it makes women uniquely good at multitasking, and I like bringing visibility to companies that are doing cool things. So we started this event, this is our 8th year doing it, and we pick a different charity every 2 years and we fund that. So so giving back has been a big part of being authentic for me, and I like the fact that I get to combine my love for ecology and my creativity and the idea of giving back. So
yeah, that's awesome.
That's what authenticity is meant for me. So I always tell people, figure out what that means for you, and take steps towards doing it.
Right, and I think when you're a creative person, like obviously you are, you have to find some level of expression, even though maybe your journey to get there might have been through a conventional job and with a conventional type of company, a corporate type of company. Sometimes those reinforcements of other skill sets really help so that you can express your creativity. Without some of that, I've personally found anyway, without some of that discipline and understanding of the conventional world. And we're all basically trying to work toward having a successful economic life as well, so that we can enjoy life and enjoy our family and all that life has to offer. Those conventional skills really come in handy when you're trying to express yourself, not only being authentic, but also your creativity and your give back, because your give back is, as you had just elaborated, is a pretty creative give back. I'm really touched by that as well. It's gonna spur my own thinking of how I can get involved in something like that with as my company grows and we do more with other folks. I'm interviewing a woman who has a company in Australia who put together these reusable coffee cups, and that kind of goes along with what your message is. She kind of found her purpose in also having a bit of a save the planet combination of her business and also that. And I think that's something that we're all, I think, striving for now. We understand the planet is in need of some caretaking, and we need to kind of slow down how we're overusing and overabusing what Mother Earth has given to us. So we applaud your efforts, Tracy, and the fact that you're actually using some recycled materials as well. I know that that's not an easy way to design a purse, but it certainly has a bigger message.
Yeah, it isn't. It certainly isn't the least expensive way to design a bag, that's for sure. But sometimes it's not about always doing things the easy way, but doing things the right way. And we in America are enormous consumers of a lot of things, and we have the benefits of a lot of resources, and we have the responsibility of helping to save this planet. So.
Right. Well, in the week of September 8th, we're going to be all about Urban Junket and all about getting folks to understand the recycling aspect of your wonderful company. And we're going to announce a winner at the end of the week. And by this time, people will have already seen my Urban Junket carrying around France. So
yep. Unless your pictures, we'll post them.
So we're looking forward to taking my Jen and my Joey along with my trip to France, and that'll be a lot of fun. And we'll showcase you and your wonderful company when I get back. And we really enjoy the partnership with your company. It matches so well with what we're doing here at Most Life, and your story's inspiring. Your company is inspiring.